I'm about to go for a run, and I wanted to cover a couple things I'm going to be gearing up with, as well as some accessory fun, like this gold chain. First and foremost, with the gold chain, I honestly wanted to give it as a gift to my daughter because I thought she would appreciate it. She loves all this kind of stuff, and she's 5 years old. So one of the things I thought was cool was wrapping it around the wrist and then being able to like snap it for her, and it fit perfect, and she really liked that. So that's just a fun fact. But I wanted to actually, I'm going to test out on the run how this necklace actually feels, so I can come back, I'll make a follow-up video and give you guys some feedback, because when I wear a necklace, I'll be honest with you, unless I'm doing jujitsu or Muay Thai, even when I'm lifting, running, even going swimming, any activity, I pretty much like to keep it on. It's kind of one of those things that just stays on. And I'll see how it feels. Like, I like it's a simple style, nothing too crazy, but aesthetically, I think it's really solid. So let's go into the next piece that's going to complement it. Speaking of some fun accessories, we also have this 14-piece set of earrings. So I gave this also to the kids. They don't have their ears pierced yet. These are actual regular earrings, so be mindful. They're not like clip-ons, but they go from a kind of like crystal stud to the hoop style earrings. You got smaller, you got bigger, you got a variety of shapes like moons, crescent moons. This one is a cross. You also have stars. It's just like really cool. It's a lot of fun. And it just makes, I think, a really fun just gift, or just an activity even, to like, all right, cool, let's open this up, let's mix and match and do those fun things. I also have my ears pierced, so I could even throw these bad boys in, but they're not really my vibe, I'm gonna be honest with you. But I just thought I'd compliment that. This is something, again, you can even like, as I go for a run, I always kept my earrings in. The only thing I don't like to do is, again, keep this type of jewelry, watches, stuff like that. Even my Amazfit watch, I love this, but I take it off for jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. Same thing with the earrings, necklace, all of that. But now let's gear up, prepping for the actual run itself. One thing I wanted to cover too is the Amazfit watch. Ready to check it. We're going to slide. We're going to go to the actual workout. And the cool thing is, if your hands get sweaty or like wet, like mine do, they have the toggle manual option where you could just tap and it'll manually go up. Then we can hit select. First one's going to be the outdoor running, the way I've kind of organized it. And you kind of prioritize the display based on what you use the most. Outdoor running's been the one I've been using the most just because of a shoulder injury. So we hit select, boom, go down and go. So that's going to sync up once I actually start running. But speaking of running, let's throw on, this is the key to the whole reason I was going to make this sequence of videos, was the Zealous weighted vest. They have a variety of options here too. This is the 10-pound option, and you can go as little as 4, which allows you to manually remove these little sandbags, which I really appreciate, being able to adjust it. The only thing I would appreciate, which they have on their bigger sizes, like if you order the heavier ones, is additional things that you can add in the front, the back, the side. The other cool thing to this is the net. If you want to throw your keys, your phone, I wouldn't run with that, but for walking, this is something I also do. Today is a light kind of recovery run. So I honestly don't recommend running by itself with weighted resistance for the most part, unless you purely just want to, have a higher caloric burn. And even then, sometimes you could argue it would be more efficient for you to not have this and just run harder. So it just is more for walking. I find this really helpful going for hikes. If I walk with the kids in the morning, they have these adjustable pieces on the side. Let me get a nice little lever. You slide that in. Same thing on the other side. And this is the only area you got to worry about adjusting. Sometimes I've seen with other weighted vests, they'll have a bigger plate in the front, bigger plate in the back, which I actually kind of prefer for heavier weights if we're going to do like a Murph run or something like that. But this is like simple, doesn't feel too bulky and get in the way. And they even have some like weights going through the entire piece, but the adjustable part's right here. And we have the back where you can take some of that out, but you'll still have a base of 4 pounds for this particular one that I got. And again, they go up in weight, so you can adjust that. I would always invite you to get the heavier one and you can adjust down, versus getting the lighter one and then you can't necessarily add to it. You have to get a whole new vest. So that's like the only thing that I would recommend. The other cool part is, if you could see these reflectors. So speaking of running, walking, whatever, getting out, biking, being able to go out and have these reflectors are clutch. We live on a decently busy road for where we live. It's like a main road. And then you have these other kind of things that you can add, whether it's a selfie stick or a snack, maybe a gel pack, whatever. Personally, I would, again, put it here. But you have these just, again, kind of space efficient options. Not only these, again, are like kind of tags, but you can even clip things onto here. I think that's pretty cool. So that's the one aspect of the run. The other piece I wanted to show you all is my compression, that becomes helpful. Come on down here. Come check this out. We're going to gear up, as it were. And I got some fun supplements I wanted to talk about and how they may or may not fit into your healthy lifestyle, especially as a board certified health coach. I'll speak from my perspective and credentials. Again, I have a variety of other ones, but I think the health coaching credential is the one that kind of encompasses a lot. And these are also a great pair of running sneakers that I've got. Transparently, this is all sponsored stuff, except for, let's try and think, what's the one thing that, no, this is pretty much all, again, sponsored items, but giving you my real perspective here. I love these sneakers. I've had them for about 6 months now, and I'm really starting to gear up a bit more with my runs. Come on down and just check out the kind of spacing. Don't mind the messy floor. But again, fit well. They're durable. Look how they're holding up so far. I've put on maybe like 50, not even, maybe 30 to 50 miles on these bad boys so far. I just started getting back into running about 2 months ago. So even though I've had them for 6 months, I've definitely walked with them. I've put on more. When I say 30 to 50 miles, I mean running. Walking, it's definitely been like over 100. But pretty simple. Again, I'm a size anywhere from 12 to 13, depending on the fit and the feel. And these are a 13, and they're a pretty good feel. So now we got our socks on. Got our shoes on. The one thing I realized is I didn't put my compression on first. I'm just thinking about now. The pro move is to put on the compression first, but we're going to see how this is going to feel putting on the compression over the socks. Again, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not even going to do this. This is not the move, but I've been using these compression sleeves for my running specifically, or when I'm doing lower body, and they have this nice little sticky component. So you put it up on your thigh, it grabs a hold. What I always recommend though is go a little bit higher than you think, because as you start to run and whatnot, it can potentially pull, but because of this nice grippy part, it's been pretty solid and they're durable. I've washed them. By say me transparently, Carrie has washed these maybe a dozen times already. They've been really solid. I like them. Honestly, dealing with some varicose potential veins here, and this has been helpful from a compression. The running's been helpful. So boom, definitely recommend these. This is a solid set. And the one thing I wanted to go back over with the Zealous is I'm going to make a follow-up video, me actually using this on the run, as well as demonstrating some other exercises. Like what I personally like this a lot for is getting squats, just body weight squats to start and then progress with the weights. Being able to have tools to help progress you with body weight and calisthenic-based movements becomes a massive lever point, because you eventually hit a wall where doing 15, maybe 20 reps isn't a challenge anymore. And just doing more volume by itself may not actually serve the same way as adding weight and resistance. Also, obviously, push-ups, dips, pull-ups, being able to do even stability and balance and coordination. I like incorporating this, but I want to just invite, there's versatility here, but really when you're going for intense runs and cardio, you may actually want to focus more on the intensity of the workout, not necessarily adding weights to it. It can compromise or impact your form. So something to keep in mind. The other thing I will say is when I'm like running, jumping, see how this will slightly move? By keeping this tight, it'll help lock it in, but there's still a bit of give here. So when you're doing more intense movements, that's the only feedback I would give is make sure this is nice and snug, and you will still get a little bit. And even when I run, I like to not have my shirt on, but I've found out the hard way. It doesn't feel so great if you don't have a shirt on, so I recommend that. And that's pretty much it for this piece. Wanted to go over a couple other things, especially I wanted to cover some of the new supplements I've got sent to me, and then we're going to go over a fun bonus at the end of this. So when it comes to the supplements, I want to highlight the ones that are going to be in my daily routine. For example, vitamin D3 K2. This was sent by Yucky Nutrition. Yucky, I should say. I think it's kind of funny. It's close to Yucky, which is hilarious. But again, capsules. Talk to your physician. This isn't medical advice, but vitamin D and K3, or vitamin D3 and K2 are ones that I almost invite for all my clients to have in their supplement regimen, because usually 88 to 92% of us are going to be deficient in this. So being able to not only get it from our food is ideal, but supplementation becomes key. And this is, I believe, it's one capsule. You're going to have 5,600 IUs for your vitamin D, and then you're going to have 110 mcgs for your K2. May even want to ramp that up depending on your deficiencies, your body. This is a fat soluble one. So I like to take this in the morning, but then I also like to pair it with my protein that has a little bit of fat and coffee, which becomes helpful. But this is like a daily one for me. It goes with my multivitamins, all those. I also want to highlight my creatine gummies. This is one I've been playing with, and we've made past videos. I've also talked about the brand. And one thing I will invite is the flavors and the gummies make it easier to get a higher quantity of creatine down. Or if it's a new habit you're creating, having it be gummies, from my experience and the behavior of it, is easier to get and sometimes more attractive than just taking the powder or pills. And the gummies are going to be a little bit more just accessible from my experience. So these are another one that are a part of my daily routine. The next one is not necessarily daily, but is pretty much a potential monthly one. This is a combination of magnesium, melatonin. I believe it has lemon balm in it, and melatonin. Let's just let me just double check it. Yeah, it's got lemon balm extract, chamomile extract. So I really like this. The only thing I would say is, because it has melatonin, it's not a daily use for me. I'm not a huge fan of relying on melatonin on a daily basis. This is like a coming back from vacation, resetting my schedule, things like that. But they also have a melatonin-free option. I really actually like the brand itself, Natral. This is one I would use by itself. And what I want to invite for everyone is, when you are debating on supplements, and speaking of, I'm going to go into the next one, is being able to understand how we do that. So I'm going to make another follow-up video on checking the rest of these supplements and some of the routines and systems I use to know if it's legit or it has some concerns. Basically, I'll go on an independent website. For me, it's quackwatch.org, is a third-party funded, no real private interest in supplement brands, to verify if they're legit or if there's any reports, any lawsuits, things like that. So what I'll also say is the Shy Legit supplement, I'm horrible pronunciation, is the resin itself is where I've taken it in the past and mixed, and that can be really helpful, but it's kind of gross. So the capsule version of it is an easier form to take in. Again, this isn't even in my daily use. This is one I experiment with. I will utilize it, especially if right now, transparently, I'm working and checking my labs, my hormone levels. These have some ingredients that can potentially positively impact that, amongst other things like ashwagandha. The other thing they have in here is the sea moss. I transparently like the actual sea moss gel, or the jelly, and I'll use it like jelly. But being able to have a capsule, being able to get this in, it's honestly doesn't taste like anything. It's not gross. It's less, to me, is a barrier potentially. So this is an option to consider. Is it in my top 5? No, but it could be in the top 10, depending on where your needs and what's important and what could be a deficiency for you. And then 2 more coming up, y'all. This was an interesting one, a unique one I hadn't really thought about, but the company reached out, or I reached out to them just to say, hey, what do you guys have? And this is a nicotine detox. So I enjoy smoking a cigar from time to time, if I'm being honest with you. And over the last 2-3 months, I've been smoking more cigars, and now I kind of want to stop again. So I was like, you know what, let me leverage this. And basically, there's nothing crazy in it. And even if you're not necessarily trying to stop nicotine, the sensation itself, that's what's helping. The actual supplements in here are just going to help with the sensation, trying to fill a gap from my understanding, just looking at the ingredients. Key things: rhodiola, ashwagandha, black tea extract, black pepper extract. And those are the key ones that jump out to me that are going to give you some of the like neurological potential signals and the neurotransmitters that can help you with the nicotine, especially going through a potential withdrawal. Again, this isn't medical advice, just my 2 cents. But this is one I've been using over the last like 2 weeks, week and a half. And I've noticed after like 2-3 days, I was like, oh, I don't have the same potential pull or craving. Part of that's just having discipline. Part of that's brain chemistry changing. But I think I do credit a little bit to this. I take it in the morning too, and it gives me a nice kind of focus energy, and that's the rhodiola in there, but it just doubles down with the ashwagandha as well and some of the other components to that. So this is an interesting one that, whether you're maybe trying to stop smoking or transition your behavior patterns, you like a cigar like I do, or you're trying to just transition from nicotine, this can be a clutch one. Or just for focus and giving you some energy, this could be another potential option. So I wanted to cover that. And then the last thing I got is, this is another one that for me is a staple in my routine, is a gut health benefit supplement, whether it's a probiotic or the microbiome benefit or a combination. This is the first time I've had it from this brand, Cognitune. But the gut health support to me is another one I keep. Again, it's a probiotic, and I like the pre and probiotic combination. So it gets the key bacteria into the areas of our digestive and intestinal system that we want. And I'm just going to look at it. It has 0.5 gram of fiber, not too crazy, but really just the blends of it on point, the volume. I'm going to actually try this. I'll come back and make a follow-up video just to give you like, hey, if I noticed anything. Again, I've checked all these brands out personally on QuackWatch. Nothing comes up as red flags. I enjoy them all. From what I've tasted, the ones or tried, and the ones I haven't yet, I'm going to come back, make some follow-up. But I wanted to speak to why I like those. And the last thing I'm going to do before I go for this run is I'm going to share with you guys, this was a gift I gave one of my daughters for her birthday. And Again, shout out to Funsels for like hooking it up. I've had a variety of their products so far. They're all awesome. They're really solid. The one thing I will say is like, I believe it has it on here. Yeah. Suitable for children above 3 years of age. So just again, keep that in mind. Thing I always go back to is like, don't let your kids lick it or like put it in their mouth. I feel like there's always that tendency, and I always highlight that. But the cool thing is, it's just the simple. These are solid, man. Like I've tried some of their other stuff. You just shake it, you take the top off, you give it a little press, and then it's ready to go. And the first time you use it, it's going to come out a little heavy, so just be mindful of that. And then I didn't realize they have smaller ones too. They have a little smaller, more fine marker, and then you got your big. Oh, they're all different sizes. I didn't realize. I thought they were all like the same. Yeah, and it even says right here. So you got your 1 millimeter, the one I was just showing you, your 3 millimeter, 5 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 15 millimeter. So you have a variety of sizes and shapes to your creative outlets. And the reason I bring this up, and I pair it even with my writing, the cool thing I like about creative stuff is it fires up parts of our brain that can help, especially as I've worked with ADHD clients and talked to different specialists and psychologists and PhDs in this field. Being able to do creative stuff can actually help with parts of our brain related to executive function, memory, emotional regulation. So doing creative stuff, and then also running is a nice complement. So what I like to do is I pair. I'm about to go for a run. We're going to come back. We're going to do some creative stuff, do some drawing, do some coloring, and go play outside. And it's just really fun to combo those. That's how, to me, it fits into like a healthy lifestyle. And I invite that for my kids as well. But just the brand overall has been really good to me, just hooking up with a bunch of different products that I enjoy. I'll share that with you. What I will say is like, it does say child safe, non-toxic. I haven't seen that on all different coloring things. So I always say like, dude, just, even though it says non-toxic, like you can use it, get it on your skin, just keep it out of your mouth. Yeah. And this is also acid free. So again, good for the skin, and then quick dry. So you can use on, again, rocks, wood, metal, plastic, glass, ceramics, porcelain, fabric, even paper, like, but it's really cool. We can get rocks, color them, all that good stuff. So that being said, it is safe for your kids 3 and up, but just keep it out of their mouths. Like just I don't, parents, you know this, but I'm just going to echo it out there for the simple. With that being said, that's all I got. I'm going to go get this running. I'll come back, make some more. Appreciate you guys. See you in the next one. Bye.